back to VIP. My next guest today is the hugely successful musician Tori Amos, the daughter of a preacher. She was playing the piano at the age of 2.5, and some years later, Tori emerged as a metallic rock queen, and then into the thoughtful singer-songwriter that we know today. Tori has 3 solo albums under her belt, including the multi-million-selling Little Earthquakes. She's just completed her new album, and therefore her 4th, From the Choir Girl Hotel. Before we chat, let's remind ourselves of one of her most successful tracks, Cornflake Girl. Welcome, Tori. That brings back a few memories, because it was, in fact, you were just telling me 2 albums ago. Yep. It looked quite a fun video to make.
Fun? Yeah, it was fun. Painful, just
really?
Because they had they have you flying around, and they have these
trapeze things or something.
Yeah, these iron. You feel like you have one of those. What do you call chastity belts?
I don't know. I've never had one, but I imagine it was very uncomfortable.
It was all locked away underneath that, hanging in midair for hours.
Well, look, this is part of the glamorous side of music making. I'm glad to say that I've got the hot off the press here. An album isn't even, well, it's finished, but it's not yet. This is the unmastered, as it were. There's a lot of very exciting material. It all seems very personal to you. Tell me a little bit about some of the songs on here.
Well, I wanted to have a lot of rhythm in the record. I really looked to the rhythm, and I needed it, desperately needed it in my life at that time. And I wanted to integrate it with the piano much more.
Well, you are a pianist, as we mentioned before. You could have been, in fact, a concert pianist had you wanted to. But what is it about the rhythm you wanted to integrate with other musicians? Is that what you mean?
Actually, with the songs themselves, so that foundationally, the way that I was writing, I would play my body in the shower just to get the rhythm. I mean, there's a lot of it to play, so I get different tone and stuff. And I would just stay in the shower and sing for hours, and write the songs around the rhythm.
That's fascinating. And as a process, was that new to you? Is that not how you wrote before?
A lot of times the rhythm would be applied later. It was so much about me and the piano and what we were doing. And this time, the piano kind of looked at me and said, I want to play with the guys. You know, I really want to. I think it has this fantasy of being Jimmy Page, piano. and it wanted to have that
independence almost, yeah.
Yeah, but having to you know, hold its own with the other players, not that they build everything around the solo artist, you know.
And also, particularly for you, because the album represents a very emotional time in your life, a very difficult time. You just had a miscarriage, which is unfortunate in anybody's life, but I think for you particularly, because you so wanted to be a mother.
Yeah, it was very sorrowful. And the strange thing is, I think I felt love in a way that I hadn't felt it before. I think you feel love for... I've heard my mother talk about her love for me, but and I love my mom back, obviously, but it's a different kind of love, this protective kind of love. And I guess I would have done anything in the world to try and make it okay. And we couldn't make it okay.
And so this, in a way, came out also of a sense of loss, perhaps, as well as the feelings of love that you had.
There were times, obviously, you know, you ask every question that you can ask. Sometimes, you know, I was terrorizing the Christian God, demanding to sit down and talk to him over a bottle of Stoli and really answer some questions. Because things don't make sense at that point. You know, things that people say to you, like, it's all for the best, or it's God's will, or there's a greater plan, and you just feel, oh, you know.
Come on.
Maybe, I really believe that there were 70 right answers, but those weren't the ones
you wanted to hear. Nonetheless, I would say that the music that you've written here is not dark, and I know you've said yourself this is not a victims album. Actually, some great things have come out of this experience for you, haven't they?
I have to admit that, yeah. Because, I mean, it's strange how, you know, I couldn't be a mother at this time, but the songs came and pulled my shirt and said, hi, we're here. And there was this need to create something. And the piano always seems to be there for me.
Now, the first single off this album is called Spark. Tell me about the title track and what it's about.
The one thing about the experience is that I really started to appreciate just the miracle of life.
The spark of life.
Yeah, every little. I mean, spark, at first I was trying to connect with the spirit because I just felt I needed that connection, because although the physicalness goes, you feel like you've connected. And this being has brought so many questions up and so many feelings up, and that connection seems severed, although obviously people believe on the etheric realm you can talk and you can communicate, and, you know, it goes beyond rhyme or reason. But, you know, I really felt like I was desperately searching for the life force.
And you found it. Well, let's take a look, because it's very moving the way you're talking about it. Let's take a listen. That's wonderful, Tori. Now, I just want to speak a little bit about your early life, because we mentioned in the introduction that your father was a preacher, and I know he encouraged you a great deal. He was a big fan of yours, and he helped you, didn't he, with his sort of tenacity, convincing you that you had the talent.
He's an incredible character, because I really think he wanted to be James Dean. In my heart, I believe that. And he had a wicked mother. You can tell my feelings about her. She's dead, so I can say what I want. And she and I never got along. We really were enemies since I was tiny, since I had diapers, so I didn't like her. And I think she really guilted him into being a preacher. And although he was a very good preacher, I think his heart was in other things, although he wouldn't admit it till much later.
Do you think his heart was in music as well, and perhaps his mother had never allowed him to express himself?
Well, he's tone deaf, my father. I mean, the one thing about being in church is he would have a microphone right by his, you know, his dog collar, as you call it here. And all of a sudden, during 4,000 Tongues to Sing, you would hear him tone deaf, singing louder than anybody else, because he loved to sing so much, but he would just forget his mic was on. And
But nonetheless, he encouraged you a great deal. And I know it wasn't always easy, because your success seemed to come very quickly, and yet there was a time when nobody was listening, and you were doing some bars, I know, around Washington. What really do you see as your first real break?
Break. There was a gay club. I'd just been kicked out of the Peabody Conservatory.
For?
Just not conforming.
And playing by ear as well, I gather.
Yeah, but really, I mean, I always wanted to bring in new music, and they were not open to that at the time. They really didn't understand that all this music that was happening, Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and Bowie, it was just, it was our Bartok now. But they couldn't understand that, and I really felt like they were missing. And I said, you know, you're losing the essence. It's right in front of us.
So you knew where you were going, but who gave you that sort of first break, enabled you to record and follow the career?
That didn't happen for a long time. I played clubs for 14 years before Little Earthquakes came out. But my first club was a gay bar, and my dad got me that job. He wore his clerical collar. And he walked in and he said, yeah, I think he took his Bible. I was sitting in the car, put on some makeup. I was 13. And he said, I want you to give my daughter a chance. And they let me come in, and I played for tips. And that was my first.
That's fantastic. And since then, I mean, not just have you created 4 albums of your own, but you've also been asked to sing a theme tune for a film, Gwyneth Paltrow's Great Expectations. Was that a thrill for you?
I enjoy the film process. It's tricky, though, because you have so many people to answer to, and I have a really hard time with that. I mean,
being controlled from other powers.
Yeah, I don't respond well to that. Mainly because if they're right, I'll find a way to make it work for them in a way.
Are you pleased with the result in the movie?
Yeah, I'm pleased, but they did it the way I wanted to in the end. So I am pleased, yeah.
Tori, I'm thrilled to meet you because I've heard a lot about you, and not all that they say about your kooky image is correct. I think you've outgrown that in many ways. Thank you for joining me today on
Thank
VIP.
you.
Come back and tell us more, will you?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Thank you, Tori. My thanks to Tori Amos. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for on VIP today. But please tune in again soon for more conversation with VIPs from around the world. And until then, bye-bye.